In a world in crisis, can three idiots find hope in the darkest of places? Will love conquer all, or will hate win out in the end? This is a show called Hate.
Hello and welcome to a show called Hate, a podcast in which we explore love, hate, and for everything in between in search of greater meaning and perhaps a little perspective. I'm John.
I'm Nick.
And
that's the end of that roundup. That's the cast of characters. That is the great register at the beginning of class.
The thing is, like, I'm past being disappointed.
You might be, but the scuttlebutt I've heard is the Queen's died.
Bury the lead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the second greatest national tragedy is that people think this show is falling apart. That's what I've heard. People think that we can't hold it together. We can't get three people in the same room once every 2 weeks just to make a show. Second biggest, maybe first biggest national tragedy.
Now, in this time of division,
yes, and grief and hard.
We're more fragmented than ever.
Ever.
I think it's very... I'm using the we in like a kind of broad, generic sense. I'm not assigning any blame to the people in this room. Where was I going with that? Yeah. Now, I don't want to add fuel to these rumours.
No.
But if we were, say, imagine a hypothetical different podcast.
Yes.
Where 33% of what made that show tolerable...
Yeah.
Just decided not to turn up more times than not. I'd be thinking to myself,
what's going on?
This show's falling apart.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about?
But because, as you say, because the percentage isn't quite what you have outlined there, 30%, 33% is generous, I'd say, for Chris. And I think this is my way, I think, of putting everyone's minds at ease.
Yeah.
because he really doesn't carry that much.
No. So imagine a hypothetical podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Where maybe 8.5% of what made...
maybe less.
of what made that show great.
Yeah.
Just didn't turn up.
Didn't turn up. Yeah.
I'd like to... I don't want to pick sides. And I don't want to put anybody...
I think it's very clear which side. We're on the side that shows up.
We're on the side of entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The show comes first.
So I'm not picking sides.
No. Said that a lot.
Certainly not ascribing blame to any party that isn't in this room.
No,
right
certainly
now.
not. No.
But if I were to put myself in the shoes of the listeners, and I'd like the listeners to do the same, put themselves in our shoes.
Yes.
Imagine what it's like for us.
Yeah, exactly.
When we're informed that this coming Thursday isn't good, and the one 2 weeks after isn't good.
Yeah, that's the most recent bullshit I'm going to say that we've had to put up with. It's not so much, hey guys, sorry, something's come up, can't do tonight. That happens to all of us. It's the, hey guys, sorry, can't do tonight, and also 2 weeks from now. Can't do it, mate.
This is in many ways the same. When I hear this from Chris Ray, I think of a very different real-life scenario where he applied his same particular logic to timekeeping and schedules.
Okay.
Which is where when I went on a lad's holiday
this is Albufeira.
to Albufeira.
Yeah.
And stuff happened on a night out, which Chris Ray had some involvement in.
And no memory of.
But we had arranged in our sober hours to go to a water park the following morning.
Yes.
And the coach was arriving at 9. Now, come the morning, he was not happy about this.
No.
That's
probably an understatement.
Quite vocal in his lack of happiness. And I believe saying, and it's hard to argue with the great thinkers, but I do remember him saying, why didn't you order it, the coach now, to arrive an hour later? Then I could have had an extra hour in bed. And it's really hard to know what to say.
It's basically a perfect argument. Because he would have had an extra hour of sleep, John.
Yes.
If you had arranged this to be an hour later, he would have had that.
But you see, my the weak foundations of my logical argument were the coach is outside now.
It's here now. It doesn't care about your feelings.
The driver appears to be quite frustrated. We all agreed in the harsh light of day that this is when we wanted the coach to be here, and we paid the man for that.
And to be honest, John, those arguments are great.
They're not bad.
But they really they don't hold up against, I would have had an extra hour of sleep had you booked it an hour later. And the thing is, that's objective fact. He would have done. He would have had that extra hour.
These are the words of a perpetual bargainer. Here's a man who's always trying to find a way around it.
And that's how they get you. That's how, because we try and argue with that. And by the time we meet him, we get in the room with him, it's already too late. He's already won.
Yeah. I know. And we've decided to make a stand. You know, we're not going to.
This episode's a protest episode.
Yeah, we're not going to. You know, there was bargaining being discussed. There was like, why don't we do it next week?
Yeah, why don't we do it next week?
Maybe we should do it.
Tell you why, I want to play cards next week. That's why.
Well, we also did say, I can't do Thursday this week, and we were like, okay, well, we're heading off to a convention on Friday, so we can't do Friday. But are there any other days? We'll quite happily reschedule. And he's like, no, I'm not available on any other day as well.
It's usually less an issue that he can't do Thursday, and it's usually more an issue that he can't do it at all, and doesn't want to, and hates both of us, hates the show, hates the listeners, and doesn't want any part of the fucking sordid affair. That's what it is.
I mean, I could play those voicemails.
You could.
I mean, God knows it's at least the length of an episode.
Yeah.
But even I have limits. I think
the problem is if you play those voicemails, and I've heard some of those voicemails, and if you play them, we'll come around to his point of view.
I know.
The best chance we have is to not listen to those voicemails.
And it's also, I think, some of the most insidious, biting words you can receive are the ones which are, on the surface level, very polite. Like there's no swearing.
No.
There's no kind of demeaning terms.
No.
No type of person. No race is being kind of
indeed.
denigrated. You know, it's very polite language that you wouldn't be afraid to hear at say 6 p.m. on BBC Two on a Sunday.
Yes.
However, he does manage to be very overtly racist, and it's actually quite hard to work out what race he's so angry at in those moments. The hate is quite.
It's weird because it feels both very racist towards a large proportion of the human race, but also very personal to just you or me, whoever's listening at the time.
Yeah.
It's usually you or me, to be honest. But I feel somehow both simultaneously attacked, but also I feel like part of a greater majority or minority even, who are also being affected by his words. And I don't know how he does that. It's quite remarkable.
He can be very cruel when he's sober.
It's true, he can.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah.
I mean, the real burden here is not Mr. Ray. It's how on earth do we keep this show current and topical when
he's our everyman.
Yeah.
And he knows he is.
And also to use just shine a light on present day events. The last episode. No, I'm basically the Queen has died.
Yes.
And
bury the lead.
The Queen has died and will be. No, the Queen died in the week that the last episode came out.
Yes.
She will be buried before this episode comes out.
Okay, yeah.
So we're in this nether space where
the whole of the country is arguably in this weird nether space at the moment. Yeah,
but somebody's gonna be listening to this now next week and go, "Oh my God, the Queen of England has died."
Yeah.
How can I pay my respects? And it'll be too late because she'll. Yeah, I mean, it's just happened.
Yeah, what you're saying that some people are going to find out for the first time that the Queen of England has died from our podcast.
Yeah, it'd be like us trying to break the news. You know,
if any of you good listeners learn about the Queen of England's death from this podcast, I would love for you to leave a comment on the Facebook page or anywhere you can leave. I would love to know that we, for once, provided cutting edge information for you. I mean, it's more a reflection on you, really, that you didn't know about it and that you came to us for any sort of like up to date news.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know that it was us that told you, because I'm pretty sure, and this is a bold claim, but I'm pretty sure that everyone who has access to any sort of news media or a smartphone knows about this.
It's getting to a point now where it isn't. If you putting this wonderful bit aside, like we're now what day is it now? It's a Thursday.
Yes.
So we're a week out.
Yes.
A week on from her passing
whole
away.
week on.
Can you imagine living in this country, or frankly anywhere on the planet now, and not being aware? In this country in particular.
There's literally no way. Like, because I think every shop I've been into since her death and today has had a poster in the window, all black, with a picture of the Queen's face.
Very tasteful. Yeah.
Very tasteful. But yeah, usually sellotape to a bit of glass.
First one I saw was Specsavers, I believe.
Very tasteful, very respectful. Yeah. Just says, our sympathies. And then like her name and the dates of her reign, and it's like you can't go anywhere without seeing that poster.
I would be fascinated. I would love to know. How would we know? It'd be impossible now, but not through like you're not actively trying to ignore it. What if you've had a busy week? You don't really listen to the news. Like you've had your head down in a couple of projects.
Yeah.
You just go to get milk. Maybe like you turn your head at the wrong moment. You just walk past the
You
commemorative.
don't see the poster.
Yeah. Be fascinating.
That.
Yeah.
Because my phone pinged with a headline, and it's like a push notification. It's like the Queen has died. It's just said that. No. And I was like, what's that from? That's not from an app. That wasn't from a news app. I don't have any news apps on my phone.
What?
It just happened. My phone just told me.
What? Do you think there was like an app just built into the iPhone? Like
the royal app.
bloatware? Yeah.
I don't know. It was just at the top of it just said, like crown.exe, and then underneath
Crowner.
it, swipe right on your favorite royals. Just found out. My phone just told me.
That's weird.
What a world, though.
The thing is, I'm currently rocking a BlackBerry One.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, did not find out about it on that platform.
No.
I've only just learned how to take a screenshot. It is
That's
not an intuitive device.
7x7 pixels. It looks a lot like a house brick.
Yes.
Phone. Arguably a little less aesthetically appealing than a house brick, but it's got a keyboard, I guess. So.
The worrying part is that my actual phone, which apparently does just have a dead ass screen now,
Okay.
has been sitting in the phone fixer man's
Footwell
office pond for a few weeks now.
Oh, didn't bother go get it.
It's also,
You just love this BlackBerry.
I keep checking in on him occasionally, and then he's like he's a computer man.
Oh, okay.
But then he's like my phone man. I think has gone on holiday.
Oh, so he has like a smaller man inside
Yeah.
his sort of hovel.
Yeah, and I'm maybe I'm just becoming. I have like Stockholm syndrome with the BlackBerry now because I'm surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So with each passing day, it's becoming
You're getting more and more connected to it.
it's becoming less of a priority for me to go and get that phone. But I am paying for it, so I think it would be wise
Probably
to go
should
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably should. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting to that point. Well, the thing is, we're working this weekend. We're away.
That's true.
So I'm like, I can't do it before. There's no point. I'll have to do it when I get back, and then you're suddenly into another week.
Yeah,
so...
and then you're busy, and before you know it, you've
what can
abandoned.
you do? And he's not going to be open on, the Queen's
Well, he's
big
got to be
day.
respectful, you see.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got a poster in his window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that way about, the GP surgery, but, no, they need the insulin more than I do. They can shut the
that's
door.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. My inhaler, though empty, I like suck on the sort of spout, and I get a little bit of the drug I need to live and breathe.
No one talks about the scrapings. Like, if you
I know, right?
if you crack open old Ventolin containers, there's maybe
There's scrapings in there.
yeah, there's a little bit of a puff. in there.
The inside of the cylinder that's pressurized, a bit of it condenses on the outside. You cut the top off with a hacksaw. It's very sharp, the metal of that. Jam your tongue down. You'll cut your tongue, but I need to breathe, right?
Yeah.
So, which is it?
It's like descaling a kettle.
Yeah,
you
with
know.
your tongue.
Yeah, it's a bit of vinegar,
Bit of vinegar down the tube, stick your tongue down.
Swirl it around. Now you got a nice anti-cough.
Just
sharp
drink
drink.
that.
Yeah,
it's like vinegar, but you can't drink. You have to inhale it. That's
oh,
the
of
only
course,
thing.
yeah.
So just inhale
Swill the lungs.
That vinegar, swill the lungs.
Swill the
exactly.
lungs,
Swill
yeah.
the lungs. I'm pretty sure is an asthmatic medical term. And I'm fine to do that because, of course, the doctor's surgery and hospitals and food banks and all the important services, police, ambulance, fire, they'll all be closed for respect for the Queen. So, as I lacerate my tongue in order to attempt to breathe one final time, I will bleed out on the floor, and that's fine. I think that's fine. Because of respect.
By the time this episode comes out, we'll have all found out one way or another. But it's like there's a genuine bizarre air in the country where it's like, if I forgot, I'm not invited. It's fine.
You're not invited.
I'm not invited to the funeral.
You're not on the list.
I'm sure I was a close runner-up, but I wasn't invited to the Queen's funeral.
No.
But say I just wake up on Monday. And it just skips my mind. Like I just forget about it for a moment.
Happen.
And I pick up my my double deck cassette player with the large speakers, my Ghetto Blaster.
Yeah, your boombox. Yeah.
And I put that on my shoulder.
As you always do.
And I step outside. And I'm feeling that late September vibe. I'm feeling.
Yeah, you got some pep in your step.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, the seasons are changing. Oh, it's great. And I pop my collar and I press play.
Pop your collar on your hoodie.
And I just, Careless Whisper. And I'm just like really just blaring out Careless Whisper.
Smashing that out.
And I just start strutting down the street, as I do on a Monday sometimes.
That's normal for you.
Yeah, that's just me.
That's you.
That's me.
That's you in a nutshell.
Yeah. Now, is that respectful?
No.
No. So, there's that kind of air where it's like you don't honestly know if someone might just kick your ass because you forget.
Yes, I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
It's like the whole nation is walking on eggshells, but the same people, which is everyone who is walking on eggshells, are also walking on another layer of eggshells, which is that they will violently attack someone else who isn't walking on the same eggshells as them.
Because nobody knows how to react. No one knows what's appropriate.
And the only way that we can know what is the right thing to do is by kind of just doing nothing at all.
Yes.
If everyone doesn't do anything, and then if you see someone doing something, have a go at them and shame them into not doing the thing.
Yes.
They'll stop doing the thing. You'll feel, again, right, normality will have returned. You're right to not be doing anything at all. And then we'll just get through the day.
Yes. Because technically, the Operation London Bridge stuff is only meant,
for businesses, isn't it? Well, state businesses.
Anything that's got public funding. But then at the same time...
But that was more about, like, running an event or doing an advertising campaign or shouting out a thing or doing a, music video or a stage announcement or a comedy sketch or whatever on the days, those days of London Bridge. I think just running your business and providing, say, top of my head, healthcare for people to live. I'd say that's probably it's pretty bold, but I'd say that's okay.
But it's weird because like even in the London Bridge plan, which I remember receiving some training on in my previous job,
at GCHQ.
At GCHQ, when I worked for the Queen, and it was like on day
the Q in GCHQ is Queen, I think.
GCH Queen.
GCH Queen.
When it was like, day 10.
Yes.
Because you get D-Day, which is the day she dies.
Yes.
And then it's like D1, D2, D10 is funeral day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bit woolly because it was like the day of D-Day, they're like, all comms have to shut down.
Right.
Everything has to shut down. If you're a public institution, you have to go to like monochrome branding.
Right.
Whatever you've got scheduled on social media, cancel. But then the idea is that in the plan, it was like, it's then mostly business as usual.
Okay.
From D1 through D9.
Fine.
So the world apparently should just keep on ticking.
That's not been
That's
happening.
not really what's happening.
Not at all.
No, it's getting...
Not even close.
It's getting bigger and weirder by the day.
It is, yeah.
And then you get like...
Guinea Pig Awareness Week has been moved, John.
And arguably, I'd be like, we need to be more aware of guinea pigs than ever.
Yes.
They've already claimed quite a high-profile target,
It's true.
Yeah.
I lay the blame squarely at those tiny feet.
But then it was a bit woolly because then it said D10 will be like a public holiday
Yes, which it is.
Which it is. But there was also this woolliness where it said, like, the country will effectively shut down.
Right.
But I'm like, I wasn't sure, like, how are you just saying that because, like...
Well, it seems to be that's exactly what's going to happen.
It's getting to the point where it's like, because we're working this weekend, it's actually thinking, are we going to be able to get food on Monday? No. I
think categorically we're all going without meals unless we have something in the chest freezer.
Because Tesco's, they emailed me.
Okay.
Which is kind of them, you know.
Yeah. Again, don't have the app.
Yeah.
Or they don't even have your details.
They're like, hey, John. But unless I read their email wrong, because, let's be honest, a lot of very hastily composed messages are getting sent right now by corporations. It said they would be closed on the Monday.
Okay.
The morning of the funeral.
Oh.
That's what I meant to say. So I got my M words wrong.
Yes, it's hard.
So they said on the morning of the funeral they'll be shut.
Okay.
And I was like,
that means you're open.
I'm inferring then that you'll be open in the afternoon.
Well, don't jump to conclusions.
But then Waitrose, who somehow, I don't know how the fuck they've got my email, they message me and they're like, hey, John, just to let you know, out of respect, we're closed the entire day.
Maybe it's a one-up thing.
That's an arms race, isn't it?
And Morrison's like, we're going to be shut for the whole week.
We're never opening.
And Sainsbury's like, we were never open to start with. And CNA are like, who the fuck are we? And
why are we here?
And, what year is this?
It turned to ash, yeah.
And Iceland is just like, just for mums. As always.
Yeah.
Just for mums. Iceland's a supermarket in the UK, by the way.
Yes.
Just for anyone who didn't know what the hell I was talking about, I thought I was talking about the country, which I wasn't.
Does Iceland sell anything that isn't frozen?
Oh. I think they sell crisps.
Cold?
No.
Room
temperature crisps and everything else is frozen. I think that's it. I've seen them sell crisps. I think that's it. I think that's it.
So, it's weird.
It's a weird time.
Life is very weird right now.
Yeah. And, I guess I always thought it was going to be weird. And, you know, for the longest time, I think people in this country have been talking about what happens when she dies? You know, either with an element of fear or an element of curiosity or a bit of both. And I have been thinking, it's been coming up a fair amount. She's been ill a few times over the last few years and people are like, is it now? And whenever that sort of conversation happens, I'm like, what's it going to be like? And it is completely different than what I was expecting, I think.
Yeah.
Now, some of it is like, oh yeah, that's obviously going to happen, like the obvious things. But it's been in some ways so much more than I thought, and in other ways so much less than I thought it would be. I thought there'd be riots. I don't know why I thought there'd be riots.
Give it time.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I mean, like, I think London in particular,
it's just filling up at the moment.
There's a bit of like a pressure system developing there of emotion, shall we say?
People are just, I like the number of people I've talked to over this week, and I would say probably 50% of them are in some way or another going to London. And it's like, well, if that's representative of the country, 50% of the country is going to London, then London is fucked.
I think I've been working, doing some work at our remote office thing this week, and I think I've overheard the two great spectrums of opinion on it.
Oh, here we go.
Where I've heard one person just casually saying like, "Oh, I didn't really know her. You know, I don't have much connection to it. I stayed up till 5 a.m. watching Game of Thrones last night. You know, hey, we'll check on the family. My understanding is probably one of them bumped her off. Way, you know." And then the other, you know, overhear someone else, and they're just totally discussing like how you're going to get down to London.
Yeah.
You know, if we leave now, maybe the queue will only be 17 miles long.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Because it's up to like, if not 5 miles right now, 4.5 miles long.
So this is a queue that's been going for how long? Like in time?
What I'm a bit confused by is I didn't think her coffin had made it to London yet.
Well, yesterday she processed from Buckingham Palace. Well, she didn't.
Oh.
But they carried her coffin from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall or whatever it's called.
Oh, so she is in London.
So she is in London.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that was a whole thing. That was like a whole day of television because BBC isn't doing any programs anymore.
Which is wild.
BBC is just doing live coverage, and they've even got one of those, you know, for sports events like the Olympics and tennis, they have those virtual sets where behind they have like a green screen which is just showing what's going on right now. And usually for like Wimbledon, it's like centre court, and it's just a ball boys like, I don't know, tidying up the courts or whatever while the pundits discuss,
And
matches.
the pundit is like a kind of, it's like floating in this void.
Well, they're like sat in what looks like a room with like a coffee table in front of them, but it's clearly a virtual space. And then behind them is obviously a green screen, but what we're seeing is a view of centre court, right? That's happening, but for this, right? So I saw a snippet because it was on in this place I was yesterday, and it was a presenter, some famous BBC presenter, I can't remember his name, and he was talking to a couple of people who used to be like guards involved with Queen-related stuff, right? So
Yeah.
just like an ex-guard or an ex-usher or an ex-whatever. Right?
Usher?
Sort of thing.
Usher was there.
Usher himself was there, yeah.
Very close to the British monarchy. Usher,
Really close,
yeah.
actually, surprisingly, yeah. I think he's actually in line to the throne. Yeah, and then behind them, clearly a green screen, we're seeing a live view of like, I don't know, the cenotaph. But nothing's happening. It's just London. There's just a few guards stood around kicking their heels, but it's like live right now, watching the cenotaph. And then he's asking this usher guy, it's like, so, when you were working as part of the Queen's staff, what did you have to do? And he was like, well, when I was involved, it was a little bit different because the Queen would, have a kickabout with us, play football out front of Buckingham Palace. But she's a bit older now, and obviously, like, she doesn't play with the lads as much as she used to, And he was like regaling, not that story, because that was a very silly made up story that I came up with then.
It sounded convincing enough.
I know.
I was kind of with you.
Yeah, but he was like telling stories about what it's like to and it was like punditry. It was like sports punditry, but they're talking about this.
Yeah.
And it was nothing. It was filler. It was 100% filler.
I'm trying to like comment on something in a way that doesn't come across as.
And here's the eggshells.
Indeed, yeah. I have opinions.
Sure.
Vis-a-vis
royalty.
Concept of monarchs. I have opinions. I'm also aware that as a nation we appear to be going through some kind of primal scream therapy at the moment, and I don't enjoy upsetting people.
No,
I don't.
No.
I generally don't enjoy upsetting people. So I'm just like, okay, this is the time to be quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know I'm joking around now, and we're talking about all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think what we're trying to get to really is like, we don't have any issue. Yeah, she was a person, she died. It's never a happy time when someone dies. That's sad, obviously. It's the crazy not knowing how to react atmosphere that I think is more what we're talking about here.
And it's like this kind of 24/7 nothingness coverage.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of. It's like the BBC is providing a service to people who don't really know they need it and wouldn't be able to describe what it is they want or need anyway.
But they also think there should be something.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what a lot of this stuff is. It's like you look at all the ceremony that's going on around the Queen. It's like there was a whole ceremony for a whole day of moving her coffin from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall, right? And that was not just she has to go there because of reasons, logical reasons. It was ceremony. There was pomp and circumstance. There were people standing at four corners of where her coffin was in a certain pose, holding a sword. And there was a queue of people who were all doing certain things at exact certain times. And I think this kind of tradition, ceremony, is born out of the fact that if someone just dies and we just go, they're dead, and we chuck them in a hole, it doesn't feel like we've done enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this sense of like, we didn't do enough. So it's like, what can we do? And over the years, particularly for the monarchy, because let's be honest, we've had these people for hundreds of years, that whole sense of haven't done enough has complexified the whole thing to the point that now we have all of these things we have to do. Like a guy has to stand there and he has to have that specific helmet on and he has to have that sword on his belt because that's what they did 600 years ago. And so they have to do it now. And I'm not saying that that's a problem. I'm just saying, isn't it interesting how I think it's born out of the fact that we do this stuff because we feel like otherwise it won't be enough. And I think now that's extended to the TV coverage and to these posters in the shops.
Yeah.
Everyone's afraid of not doing enough or not doing the right thing. So they just do everything.
Being the one channel that kind of...
Yeah.
Because it's weird, isn't it? Because obviously we have a national public channel in the BBC.
Independent, ostensibly.
Ostensibly, but also kind of kind of paid for by the public. It has some commercial interests, but then we do have commercial channels. And I'd be like, okay, so the BBC is going to be doing the 24/7 news coverage, and ITV and Channel 4, Channel 5 can do whatever, I don't know. But like,
Does it even exist anymore? I don't know.
oh God knows, yeah. But it's like, but they'll be. I assumed they would be doing the other stuff, like maybe subdued broadcasting, but maybe like you have to provide some alternative.
Yeah, I guess.
But then, but I'm like, okay, but on the big day, the BBC surely is going to have primary access to film this,
if not exclusive access.
But then, are ITV and Channel 4 just turning off for the day, or are they just showing the same thing? Like, will you be able to watch anything else?
I mean, yeah, that's interesting because you think about big sports events. Sometimes both the BBC and ITV cover them, and you just almost get a different angle on them, don't you? And it's like, will it be like that? I don't know. Is the funeral day itself, which is Monday, of course, is that significantly big enough to warrant everyone basically running the same content for a whole day? Maybe it is. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I now whether or not I agree with that is a different matter, but it could be argued if there's ever going to be one event, it's probably like the Queen dying and Alien Contact.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really, like, it's something that would cut across like all broadcasting.
And this is the thing, isn't it? Is that it's at the end of the day, this all is still governed by what people want.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, what people want right now. I think this is what.
But as you said, that's the really weird thing, isn't it? Because it's like you can't ask people.
No.
Because there's no way of working out what people want or need.
And also, if anyone said they didn't want it, they would be blasted for that.
Yes, it'd probably be like, you don't know what you're talking about, or you're so grief-stricken that you don't know what you're saying. You're not thinking straight right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a bit serious there, but it's a weird time, and I guess it's a significant thing.
I assume I've seen a photo of now, and this is where you forget that, like, well, we live in Narnia, like, because we live in a very weird country.
We live in Hogwarts,
but it's like in The Crown, the TV series The Crown, which I have watched with Lucy, and which was entertaining as a work of fiction.
Sure,
because it is a work of fiction. It's based on real life things. But in the first season of that, when the previous king dies, he was a George or an Edward.
Yep.
I'm
going to take your word for it. Let's say Edward.
Why not? And there's a bit, like, after he dies, you get the whole pomp and circumstance of, but mind you, it was like 1952 or whatever, so different time.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where in Westminster Hall?
Yeah, I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the Parliament bit, or is that the big church bit?
It's like a big empty room. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know where it is.
So there's a bit where, like, everyone, walks up, pays their respects, walks away, the body's in state.
Yeah, this is this.
And then a man in a fancy red, like, uniform, looking very British and official, with a big white stick.
Oh, yeah.
Walks up.
Ah, the white stick man.
Yeah, snaps the stick.
What?
Drops it on the coffin and then walks away.
Disrespectful.
And
is that part of it?
Well, here's the thing. And we were like, what the fuck is that? Because they don't draw attention to it. We just see a guy walk on, break a white stick, and then walk away. Right. And we Googled it, and a ton of other people had Googled it, because everyone's going like, what the fuck's up with that guy? And it turns out that, like, there are all these, like, old, like, historic positions, which are still filled even today, but often don't really have like a function.
Right.
So it's like so say like in the 1500s there'd be like the Lord of the Chamber Pot or something like that.
Because the king had a chamber pot.
Yeah, and the king doesn't move his own shit. Like someone else has got to do it.
Yeah.
So then it's like, in the present day, there's still like the High Lord of the Chamber Pot or something like that.
Brackets pot.
And it's like, well, who is that nowadays? It's like, oh, that's Jeff Bingsley. He's a businessman from like Euston, and you're like
364 days of the year.
Yeah, he gains a seat in the Lords and and a standing salary of 20,000 on top of his personal income.
Indeed.
And
rightly so.
And you're like, what does the job entail? Well, nothing. It's just ceremonial
yeah,
thing.
ceremonial position. Yeah.
But then it's like I'm going to get this completely wrong, but it's basically like the Lord of the not the stick, but like
Rod.
Lord of the Rod or something like that.
Rod Lord.
Rod Lord, yeah, and it's like the Rod Lord.
Step forth.
And you go like, what the fuck does that do? And it's like, okay, well, technically nowadays they have some position to do with like, I don't know, trade regulations in agriculture or something like that.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So 99% of their time, 99.99999% of the time,
Do nothing.
They're just writing emails about cows or something like that. And then when a monarch dies, you've got to pick up a white stick and you've got to walk up to the coffin and snap it because it's like, my duty is over. I'm snapping the stick. And
wild.
And I have seen a screenshot of BBC footage of the man with the big white stick
Doing it for this.
not snapping the stick, but walking out of the building. So clearly, the dude with a stick he's
Still
on the
here.
move.
Yeah. Well, it's probably happened by now because they've done all of the pay the respects to the coffin in Westminster Hall, so that's done.
Stalking the streets of London right now with that stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitting people who don't cry the right amount. Yeah, we're a weird country.
We're a very weird
Very
country.
weird country.
Do you want to do the whole point of the show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've got a hate.
You got a hate?
I've got a hate. Yeah. It's entirely unrelated to all of this.
It's for monarchy.
Hey! Shit.
Oh.
That's a bit different.
We'll cut that. It's all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll beep it out. Logan Paul. He's not the hate.
Oh, well, I mean,
low-hanging
fruit, I feel.
I know, that was easy, wasn't it? That was too easy. I thought I'd start there. Logan Paul, a YouTube internet celebrity.
He's back.
He's back.
In pog form.
Nobody cares about Logan Paul. He went quiet after he laughed at people committing suicide in Japan. And thank God he went quiet after that. He did that. Did you know that?
Oh, I very much, yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, me included, thought that he just didn't exist anymore. Like maybe everyone...
I mean, we dreamed.
Maybe when you forget, it's like fairies, you know, if you say those words, I'm not going to say that, but then a fairy dies.
Yeah.
I thought it was the same for Logan Paul. Turns out it's not. He's still been cracking on, and he's pivoted hard from being a dick to Pokemon cards.
Wait, a quick sidebar, Your Honour.
Sure, no, go for it. Yeah. Sustained.
Which of the Logan pricks is it? Is it Logan? No, which of the Paul pricks? Is it Logan or Jake who boxes?
It's technically both, but I think the one who was known for it was Logan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Logan Paul, when he was younger, when he was at high school, and I think to a lesser extent college, wrestled professionally.
Wow.
Because you know how American, I don't know much about this, but American colleges sports is kind of like professional sports.
Yes.
So if you're on the football team for your college, it's kind of like you're in the Premier League here. Like it's wild. There's a whole college football league.
And there's people who say that actually college league football is better than the National League.
Yeah, it's almost more significant for your career if you're on the team in your college.
And I bet if you're studying architecture, you feel great about that. I think it's really important.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be good
Didn't try out for the team, but I can build a mean foyer.
But you just shut up.
But shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. Well, anyway, he was on the wrestling equivalent of that. So he's much more a wrestler, but he did some boxing in his time. Anyway, wrestling.
Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah, like oiled up on the floor,
that
holding
weird,
a man's foot.
Like onesie kind of.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Lots of photos if you want them. Logan Paul in a onesie. Loads of photos of that online if you want that. But yeah, so he sort of made a big career on YouTube for being kind of a shit.
There's like these eras of Paul, aren't there?
The Paul years.
It's like, dude on Vine.
He was on Vine, correct. Good knowledge. I'd forgotten that. Yeah.
With, he was like, I hate to say it, moderately entertaining on Vine.
Yeah, he was.
And you go like, okay, this guy, he looks like a big lunkhead.
Yeah, he's got that sort of. He's very muscly. He's very broy, but he's also quite good looking. So you're like, okay, I get it. I get why.
He used to have a moderate sense of humour.
Yeah, sometimes willing to pick on him, like make himself look a bit stupid.
Yeah, but then some jokes do seem to be at the expense of his friend who was a little person, and then you're like, it seems a little.
And
cruel.
also some of the jokes seem to be like, look how muscly and cool I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Then he really blew up on YouTube and was kind of like, it was in that era of when we were getting the big YouTube celebrities and the YouTube houses where people were living in with other YouTubers.
Because he's got a posse, hasn't he?
He has the Low Gang, I believe they're called. Yeah.
That's clever.
Which is both his group of mates and also all his fans.
Sycophants.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this isn't my hate, but this is just a bit of context.
I think it's important. We have to
we have to lay it all out.
Yeah, got to prime the pipe. Yeah.
Anyway, so then he goes to Japan, acts like a Burke in Japan, laughs at someone when he finds them having committed suicide, which is absolutely despicable. And I think, certainly from my perspective, because I used to watch Logan Paul videos, because I had this weird morbid fascination.
Yeah.
I hated everyone, and I hated him. I didn't hate him, but I didn't enjoy what I was watching.
I think it's okay to say it. Like, we have this thing where it's like, oh, don't say that you hate someone. You don't know them. It's like, no.
I think I do know
I think
him.
I do know this person. I don't think there's much to...
But even then,
yeah.
he was just a twat, basically.
Yeah.
And I think to some extent, even he knew he was being a twat. Like, that was kind of
But
his
that's part
brand.
of the brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think, a lot of that spotlight went away. But I don't think any of his fame did, because I think he still had the hardcore fans, and he was still making shitloads of money, and I think people were still watching his stuff. But he seems to have pivoted hard from just fucking about and making weird videos about random shit and flexing about how much money he has to Pokemon cards. Right.
Now, that's already a raw subject, because I feel he's dipping his toe into a world which...
And this is my hate. This is my hate, because there is a precedent for investment bros getting into trading cards / geek things, because now more than ever, but also generally, they are a medium that money and investment growth occurs in.
Fuck, you're right. I was looking at this going like, oh, I'm annoyed because this douchebag bro is stepping into geek territory and appropriating it. But now I'm doubly angry because it's not that.
No.
It's a douchebag bro going, oh, NFTs, these are a bit like that.
This is the exact same journey I went on. The first feeling is, how dare you touch my thing? You know, I like Pokemon, I like trading cards, I like geeky shit. You are a fucking wrestler jock bro.
Yeah.
You were the kind of people who picked on us at school.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now you think you can come along and play my card game about little creatures. How dare you? You know, so there's that. And then there's the next layer to it where you realise he doesn't even give a fuck about Pikachu.
It's a weird flex.
He doesn't even give a fuck about all that, because he just wants the money. And this was broiled up to a froth by his recent acquisition of the rarest and most expensive Pokemon card in the world. And he made a whole, what could only be called a documentary which was a documentary about really how much money Logan Paul has. Because the whole thing was the story about how he got hold of what is the rarest Pokemon card in the world.
Yeah, because for best, I like a documentary.
Yeah.
I've watched, in the last week, I've watched a very good one, and I've watched quite a bad one.
There you go.
And, you know, people say, like, oh, a documentary, just turn the camera on, shoot real life, that's all you need. But no, a documentary needs a narrative.
Oh, it does.
There's always a story to tell.
It needs a beating heart on a thread and gets pulled along.
And it seems like the punchline, the shocking denouement to the Logan Paul documentary is that he's an asshole.
Yeah, it is.
So he just goes, hello, everyone, I'm going to buy this card, and it costs...
$5 million.
$5 million. So it's not even that, like, he found that card and then goes, I can sell this card for $5 million. He just bought that card.
$5.25 million.
What is this card?
Weird. It's a weird card. It's called the Pikachu Illustrator card, right?
Okay.
And to be fair, actually, all I've watched is his documentary, if I can even dare call it that. So this may not be a reliable source of information. There may be a rarer card, and he's just saying that the one he's got is the rarest. So by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. But according to him,
sure,
the rarest card was a promotional card that was created by an art challenge, and the art challenge was way back in, I think, maybe the early 2000s, maybe even earlier than that. And the gimmick was draw a form of Pikachu, a variant of Pikachu, and the best one will be made into an actual card that will
only one.
The best artwork. Yeah, no, there'll be more than one card.
Yeah.
But only one illustration will be chosen.
But how many cards were made?
Not many.
Okay.
And beyond that, like very few, I think, like potentially tens, maybe hundreds.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's an illustration. It's a nice illustration actually of Pikachu, and he's got like a pen or a brush, I think, and he's drawing, and he's called Pikachu Illustrator. That's the gimmick, is that because this was an illustration contest,
right.
the person who won drew Pikachu as an illustrator.
Sure.
Right. And again, very few of them are made. Even fewer of them are known to exist in the world. And they've all been, the known Pikachu Illustrator cards are all graded by PSA, right? So they're all encased in that plastic and they have a certain rating. And there's a handful of 1s, a handful of 2s, and there's a couple of 4s, and then there's a 9 known, and then there's a 10. And as a result, because the 10
So 10 is like a hypothetical perfect.
Yes, no defect,
Has
no
never,
print
has
damages,
never
nothing.
touched that.
Basically,
Yeah.
It was removed from booster. It was not only print perfect at that time, but then it must have been encased almost immediately in the plastic by PSA grading peeps, giving it a perfect 10, which is rare in trading cards anyway, right?
Yeah.
So because there are only a handful of them, and because there's only one 10, that 10 is the rarest and most expensive card.
So it's not that like every single one of these, even if they printed only 100, is worth 5 million. No,
the
it's
10.
only this. Yeah.
Only the 10 is.
Wow.
Right. So he finds out about this and he wants to get hold of it.
I must have it.
Yeah, it's kind of just that. I must have it because I'm Logan Paul and I must have it. Not because he cares in any way.
But it's weird, isn't it? Because it's like people go like, "This is the epic story about how I came to acquire the graded,
the Illustrator,
the 10 grade Illustrator Pikachu." Pikachu.
Pikachu.
But it's also like, okay, what was your secret to this epic quest?
Yeah, what was your secret, Logan?
I paid for it.
Oh right, I paid a lot of money for it.
I decided I wanted a thing, and I paid what they asked.
So there is a wrinkle because the guy who owns it didn't want to sell it. Logan only finds out that this card exists because he has an agent who helps him buy rare cards.
Logan, baby, got a scoop for you.
Hey, boy! I got some good news for you, boy. Pick up your phone, boy. Hey, boy. At first he's told that this guy wants to sell. Logan gets all excited, makes him an offer of $4 million. And then the guy changes his mind, not because of Logan's offer, but just changes his mind. Actually, I don't want to sell it. Changes his mind. So that's kind of like the low point in the documentary. It's like, oh, he's heartbroken. I think he throws a shoe at a kitchen cabinet. That's how upset he is. I think he does that twice. That's how upset he is.
Yeah, they got it from 2 angles.
Yeah. It wasn't actually a different throw. Yeah.
Spontaneously. It's funny.
Sounds like I'm being facetious. He throws a shoe at a kitchen. That actually happens in the documentary. He takes his shoe off and throws it at his kitchen cabinet, which is cool. It's a cool moment.
Wow, it must be weird to have gone that far in life and never actually not gotten what you wanted.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It was genuinely like a tantrum, like a child having a tantrum.
Wow, yeah.
Anyway,
terrifying.
then his agent picks up and says, hey boy, I got some good news for you again. Turns out he does want to sell again, but the price has gone up. It's not only 5 million. No, that's right. The price has stayed the same, 4 million. But he will only trade it for $4 million and a PSA 9 Illustrator Pikachu.
Oh.
So what this mysterious collector wants is to still have an Illustrator Pikachu in his collection, but he's willing to give up the 10 to Logan.
Oh, that's weird.
It is, isn't it? I thought.
Is a 9 graded one worth 1 million?
1.25 million.
Oh, so it is almost like a direct part exchange.
So this is how he ended up paying $5.25 million for the PSA 10. It didn't cost him that. He had to buy a PSA 9 first. Right?
This is weird.
I know, it's weird. So anyway, he finds PSA 9. No one cares how that happened because he's got $1.25 million just to throw around. So that's easy. He goes on eBay or whatever. I don't know. Finds it. Buys that. eBay. Would you trust doing an eBay transaction for $1.25 million?
It is weird what you can buy on eBay. I know, it's very bizarre.
Fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he gets that. Then he flies to Dubai to make the trade, where he hands over a PSA 9 and $4 million.
Of course, the dude's in Dubai.
And the dude... We don't see him because he doesn't want to be shown, right? So he gets pixeled out at one point. We see him from a distance, but he is again another full-grown man, right? And I know I'm a fully grown man, right? But still, he doesn't give a shit about Pikachu. He doesn't give a fuck about Pokemon. This is a man who's purely in this. I know this. I only saw him. He's 2 pixels in the video, but I know who this person is. He doesn't care about Pokemon at all. He just cares about the fact that this card is worth a lot of money, which it is fundamentally. And he's just like Logan Paul. He's just another man with a shitload of money who is just trading off of this thing that was created for children to play in the playground with their mates. Do you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be so gatekeeping about it. If somebody wants to spend shitloads of money and these things go for that much money, like I get it. But at the same time, it feels kind of obscene and a bit gross.
No, I think it's okay to be critical because it's like these are not normal people.
And they're not fans either.
But also it's like, if you have elevated yourself to, like, you don't even get in that room.
No.
If you don't have millions to burn.
No,
so,
you
like,
certainly don't.
And I think if you're living in such rarefied company, then you have opened yourself up to criticism. You are
you're probably right.
Legitimate
That's
to criticize these
That's
people.
fair.
And it's weird, isn't it? Because it's very easy to scoff. It's very easy to say like, "Oh, how ridiculous." It's like I'm it's like if you're going to get angry about how can a card be worth $5,000, then it's like, well, you have to get angry about a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Like, why is anything worth anything?
I'm not necessarily angry about a card being worth a lot of money. That's not my issue.
No, I'm with you on this. Like, I'm kind of fascinated by it in a way. I'm kind of because something is only worth what people are willing to pay for it.
Indeed.
So, arguably, the card is worth $4 million because will transact.
Someone did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do find it kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
At the same time, I do kind of feel that like the kind of people who are making these transactions, it does feel very sad and lonely at the top.
The thing is, I think you make a really good point. The kind of people who are making these transactions, the car didn't start out being worth $4 million.
No.
It started out being worth a bit, and it was traded among people who care. And then eventually it left the sphere of being the people who play Pokemon, collect Pokemon, care about Pokemon generally. And it entered into, the big boy land. It entered into the people who trade sports cars, the people who trade NFTs. It entered into that land. And the problem is that from there, maybe it entered into their land at around $500,000.
Maybe,
But it only got up to $4 million because of them. Like, they, with their money and their big shop sports cars and all this shit, they push it way beyond anything. And now, if a really big fan, if someone who loved the Pokemon trading card game wanted that card, they just can't have it. It's not available to them anymore. It has left the sphere of the common man, and I'm not saying that sphere ends at $500,000, but that sphere, which is a lot smaller than that, it's left them a long time ago. And now these objects, which really are theirs, are now completely inaccessible to them. And I think that is the shame.
No, you do make a really good point, because it's like if you are the kind of person who is so wealthy that all you can do is consider earning more wealth.
Yeah.
Like you cannot get wealthy unless you're already wealthy in this weird way. Then it's like, to you, buying a Pokemon card is no more or less ridiculous than having a collection of Lamborghinis.
Yes.
Or NFT or...
They're just things.
Oil stocks.
Yeah, perfume. I don't know.
It's like, I made my money in commodity trading.
Yeah.
And but now I own the world's most expensive Pokemon card.
It's like, okay, that's weird.
And we go, that's unusual.
Yeah, we go, oh, you're a big fan then.
But they're like, no, it's an asset.
It's just an asset.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. It's like buying gold or buying diamonds. It's exactly the same. And they've learned that the new diamonds, I guess, is Pokemon cards.
Yeah, because we both dip our toes into the worlds of card games.
Indeed.
And we've commented on the past, like Magic the Gathering, is kind of seen as like the world leader.
Yeah, the gold standard, as it were.
There's a lot of contenders, but it's up there. And famously, of course, you have the Black Lotus, which is the rarest, most sought after card in Magic. And I think, going on a video I watched, I think the most expensive Black Lotus that ever exchanged hands was like 40,000?
Yeah, I thought it was in the tens of thousands.
Yeah, we're in the tens of thousands, but not in the millions.
Which I remember thinking, holy crap, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it is.
But it's interesting because that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it was weird that like the people who were talking about it, even the people who were willing to pay that much for it, had a kind of like respect and veneration for what it meant in itself. You know?
And there was even, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was a famous guy who bought a Black Lotus to play with it.
Yes.
And that, to me, peak collector.
Yeah.
I'm like, you legend. I don't give a fuck about like mint quality, and obviously you want to retain your investment or whatever. I understand, but if you are prepared to give up £40,000 for something you want to play with, fucking credit to you, mate. Like, that's wicked.
There's a dude, and again, it's all coming from these same videos by a guy who makes videos under the title of Riskic Studios.
Yes, really good actually.
Very
really
interesting. I would say even if you don't follow the world of like TCGs, quite interesting in itself.
Yeah, RHYSTIC. Ristic
Yeah, like
Studios.
sounds like Mystic
Yeah.
with an R.
Yes.
And an H.
And an H.
And a Y. Yeah. But he in that same video about like value and rarity and how much is something actually worth.
Yeah.
He talked to a dude who was he worked full time as a trader in cards. You know.
Oh right. Yeah.
And he had a deck which he played with, which was entirely made up of some of the rarest, most sought after games in the world, and he purposefully treated them like shit.
Really?
Because he didn't use a card sleeve, so he wasn't protecting them. He bound the whole deck in an
With an
elastic
elastic
band. And before every game, he would ripple shuffle them, and he would bend the cards.
I can imagine people like, boo!
And some of the cards are falling apart.
Yeah.
Like some of the cards are barely a card anymore. And he says it makes people so angry. But he said he did it, but he did it to make a point.
Yeah.
Because he said these things are meant to be played with. And yes, this deck, if it had been pristine, would be worth thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
He's like, but no, I'm playing with it. And I'm also making a statement.
Yeah. One of the greatest compliments I have ever received as a comic book creator was when a guy sought me out at a show years after he'd bought my first graphic novel. And he said, I didn't get you to sign it at the time, and I'd like you to sign it now. And he pulled it out of his bag, and it was the most battered, dog-eared, destroyed book I've ever seen. And I'd only drawn it like 4 or 5 years ago. Like,
what have you
been doing?
This?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what a life you must lead. And I made some joke about it. I was like, whoa, that's like really beaten up. And he's like, oh, I read it all the time. And I was like, I didn't know that I needed... that was the height of compliment that I could receive. But I was like, I was so touched that he cared so much that he'd beaten the living fuck out of it. Like, that meant such a lot.
And not to jump on the bandwagon, I had that exact same experience.
Yeah.
At about a year ago.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty much a year ago. When a guy called Pete.
I think I was there for it. Yeah, I remember.
Pete, if you're listening, Pete turns up and he has a first edition of the first volume of Afterlife Inc. And he asked me to sign it. Literally the same experience, because he said, I didn't get you to sign it at the time. And it was the dirtiest fucking book. Pete, I don't know what you've done to it. It was grimy as hell.
Yep.
And it was quite emotional.
Yeah.
Because like you put something out into the world and it disappears. And then a decade later, it finds its way back to you.
And when I first made comics, I would give them or sell them to friends and family or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to keep this in pristine condition in my attic, so that when you're super famous, I can sell it for millions of pounds." And when I first heard them say that, I was like, "Oh, that's a really nice compliment," because they're in their head, they're optimistically imagining that one day I'm going to be famous and that their thing's going to be worth it. But over the years and the realization that I was never going to be famous, that settled more as an insult, because I was like, "You're not reading it." And you're saying to me that at the first provocation, you're going to sell it. So the story and the artwork that I have spent ages on trying to make the best I could possibly make, you're not even going to engage with that. You're just going to wait until it's worth money for you. And granted, that probably means I'm famous. But the only way I'll have gotten famous is because of people liking my story, which you will not be one of, by the way.
Oh,
and
I haven't read it.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it. That'll damage the mint condition quality.
And what I love is there's also the third kind of person who I've met indirectly because I found your book in a charity shop.
Yes. Yeah, I've had that
it's
as
like
well.
somebody gambled.
Oh, great.
Lost.
Yeah, literally, Oh, this guy's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Turns out he's not.
Yeah, Rayman has found Afterlife Inc. at a car boot sale.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Good work.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Another reason he's not on the show tonight.
I've got hate.
Oh, hit me.
It's got a snappy title.
I like snaps.
The Black Mirror Effect.
Oh, the show.
The show.
Yeah. Okay.
So to elaborate, I hate that Hollywood media hacks, shall we say, now have an understanding of what hacking is.
Oh, okay.
And I'm fairly certain it's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, it's not.
Picture a man in a hoodie,
Yeah.
in a darkened room,
In front of a mainframe.
at a laptop.
Oh, okay.
Tapper.
Yeah.
And I don't know, use the word anonymous because that seems scary.
That seems scary.
And yeah, that's what hacking is.
At some point, he will say the words, I got in. I've got in. I've got past the defences. I'm in.
Now,
I'm in.
to clarify, because there's two different tropes here. I'm not angry at the trope of shitty hacking,
Okay.
which we've seen a lot of in Hollywood.
It's brilliant. It's so good.
Classic examples that spring to mind are the TV series Castle,
Yes.
starring Nathan Fillion.
And I think NCIS or
NCIS.
CSI, yeah.
Famous scenes where the camera's panning and someone's tapping. Oh my God, they put up a firewall. And someone goes, let me help. And then a second person comes onto the same keyboard.
On the same keyboard?
Yeah. Like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's shit and funny.
Very shit, but very funny.
That's not my point. The thing I
Okay.
hate is it's when a hack writer and filmmaker or whatever is trying to portray hacking not in that kind of funny, stupid way, but in that kind of like badass, gnarly, this is what hacking is, dude. But it's like, but no, it isn't. And I think exemplified by, I think at Alton Towers
Right.
now, or Thorpe Park, like a UK theme park, there is now a Black Mirror experience. I was going to say ride,
Yeah.
but it's not quite a ride because you're not in anything. It's more like, well, it's more like an experience. Like
Yeah.
your things are happening. There's screens.
Things happening to you.
And the Black Mirror effect is that, like, now, shitty screenwriting shorthand is that hacking is like, it's meant to be like, oh, welcome to our new interactive VR experience. Like, step into this room, and it's just like screens playing stuff like, this is the new cutting edge of browsing the internet.
Yeah, I was about to say
and
that.
then there's just like
A guy in a hoodie.
grainy stock footage of like a man in a hoodie going like,
I have control now.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, we have your files. We control you. We are in.
We are anonymous.
Yeah, we're in the grid.
We've got the mainframe is locked down, and you're in some big trouble now. Oh, it's gonna be bad for you.
Yeah, and then so
We're really good at this.
so that's like happening.
Yeah.
And this experience, which I've got to say, is maybe better if you're in the room.
Maybe.
Someone filming
Might be worse.
someone filming on a handheld camera does not make this ride look like.
Is this an actual ride you've seen, by the way?
This is
Like,
real.
Okay.
This is real.
And the ride's called the Black Mirror Effect?
No, it's just Black Mirror
Adjacent.
the ride, or
I see,
or maybe it's like
experience.
Black
Yeah, yeah.
Mirror : Backslash or something like that.
Oh, I had a call on Backslash the other day. It was really bad. Pebble Dash the toilet.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Core dump.
.exe.
.exe. And yeah. So the ride, the experience appears to be walking into a room, an empty room.
And there are screens.
And there's noise, and there's screens, and there's sound effects. And
Glitch
it's all like
effects.
playing, and then it's like, please step into the next room for processing. And then a door opens. You go, well, okay. And you
guess
just
I'm going to.
walk into the next room, and then another thing, and then more videos and stuff plays. So it's meant to be
Right.
interactive. It looks a bit shit.
It does look a bit shit.
And then it's like, oh, I don't know, an AI is taking over, and it's gonna like wipe your brain. But then it's like another hacker cuts in, it's like, and now it's like a woman. She goes like, "I'm trying to tap.
I've only got a few minutes.
I don't know. It's only a few minutes before we disrupt the signal.
I'm bouncing this off 6 satellites in orbit.
Yeah. No. Oh my God, they're coming for me. Quick, route it through Buenos Aires. No, we're down to 14 quadriflips. Because you've got to get out. You've got to follow my instructions. Because resistance is futile.
We are the Borg.
And I'm just like, yeah, all right. This room now.
Cool, yeah, that door's lit up, so I guess I'm going over there. Fucking hell.
You must pick an option. To choose wrong is it this one?
Is it this one? Well,
No. Is it the unlocked one?
They both have fire exit written over the top.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to legally do that.
The other door is a drawing.
Well, it might be that one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then it's like, I'm back. I'm reading I'm on a boat in international waters.
I've released a Trojan worm virus
worm
into his system. I won't have long though.
I'm beaming a worm into his OS, and I've got your back door. And then like another door will open behind you, and like this white light shining. Goes, you've got to go now. Hurry.
I mean, I'll move with the crowd, I guess. Like, okay.
No, madam, after you, please.
No, after you. Yeah.
No, I do. No, no. Photosensitive. Yeah, no. I think this next room might not be for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go. You can actually. There's an exit
No,
here. Actually, there's a fire exit, as I said. So
you've got to hurry. You've got to hurry.
Oh, she's back. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. No. You made it. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. Well.
I had to let the guy with the Zimmer frame go first. So.
I kind of need a piss, actually.
I guess I did. I guess I did save the world by walking into the other room.
Yeah.
I guess I did.
So no, please you go. No,
cool.
It's fine. Yeah.
Do I get a photo at the end of this?
Yeah.
Like me with the Matrix code behind me or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
yeah, I get it, man.
as exemplified by what might be an entertaining ride if you're actually there.
I'm sort of surprised that if you're going to make a ride about Black Mirror,
yeah,
that it seems to be focused on hacking. Like,
yes.
I mean, I'm speaking from a real point of ignorance because I've never watched Black Mirror. But I thought that was a show about lots of different things. Like, each episode was almost like a random standalone story. So it's a bit weird that they're like, "Ooh, let's do it about hacking."
It's almost... I don't know. I've only ever seen 2 or 3 episodes of Black Mirror.
Right.
Yeah. It's got... My understanding of it is it's got into that problem where it almost became a victim of its own success.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It was like...
I've got to be edgy and weird.
And now it's like every episode is just, what if technology was a bit weird?
What if Facebook was actually like Hitler? Huh?
Maybe our relationship with our electronic devices is a little unhealthy.
What if your kettle was attached to Bezos's IV drip? Yeah? What if your smart fridge was your dad?
Yeah.
Didn't think...
That sounds like a good one.
That sounds a good one.
Son, I'm a fridge.
Son, I need more Port Salut.
Is that a metaphor, Dad? No.
No. I am literally low on cheese. Present cheese.
Years ago, I watched the very, very, very first episode that ever came out.
Really? Was that the pig?
The pig one, yeah. The national anthem, I think it was called.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. And again, I'm not a Black Mirror purist. Some people might say I'm an idiot. Maybe they're right.
Maybe they are.
But it was less about, oh, what if your phone was a bit evil?
Ooh.
And it was more like, what if our society has gotten to a point where, like,
the instant you said the word society, I think I shut down.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's not the kind of thing, I wouldn't rewatch that episode for pleasure. No. But I enjoyed it in a very, very, very dark way.
Okay.
It was kind of horrifying.
Yeah. Which I think was the point.
Because of what it was, I thought he did it really well. Like, it's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
But, like, it was not like, the villain of that story was not your Motorola. You know, that was not the twist.
No.
The twist was that in our weird culture, it became very likely and realistic that a public figure would be pressured into doing something unspeakable.
Oh, and he is kind of pressured by a hacker, isn't he?
It's
kind of hacker character.
Yeah, it's like ostensibly someone has kidnapped a minor royal.
Yeah,
and it's like
that's right.
Unless you do,
like anonymous.
Yeah, unless you do this thing on live television,
I won't release them.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's kind of playing into that whole, like, it's the Mr. Robot, it's the V from V for Vendetta, it's the it's that badass counterculture hacker, but like, I don't know, but like,
the hacker has to be like omnipotent in a way,
yes,
like
impossibly so. Like,
yeah. Like, I hacked your Facebook.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's an embarrassing photo.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some embarrassing photos on Facebook, I guess.
Ooh, I changed the traffic lights by hacking.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it?
I
your water's gonna dry up now. It'll be piss instead tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll buy water then. I'll buy my water. Oh, your credit card won't work now.
I mean, Hollywood's got like a long history of trying to portray hackers in a interesting light.
Yeah, I feel like Hollywood went from hackers are bad to hackers are the heroes.
Hackers are cool.
To hackers are cool, yeah. And let's be honest, they're probably not. Like,
yeah.
If you know code that well, you're probably not like Keanu Reeves cool in The Matrix. You know, that was definitely a turning point for making hackers like rad.
Because there was that famously there was that movie Hackers.
Indeed, there was
in the 90s.
That's pre-Matrix.
Pre-Matrix, yes.
But they were all kind of losers. Kind of, weren't they?
Bit grungy.
Yeah, grungy emo kind of kids.
But it was like, yeah, it's like you couldn't be a hacker if you didn't also go to like weird nightclubs and like, you know, do drugs.
Techno
and be really fucking cool.
Yeah. Which The Matrix does to some extent as well. Because when he
Yes.
meets Trinity, they're in that club or whatever, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then we had things like Swordfish. With Hugh Jackman as a hacker.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, the less said about that film is probably the best.
Swordfish, fuck.
Oh my god. I don't even really remember. I've seen that film and I couldn't tell you what happens.
You've got to make it look interesting on the screen.
That's the big problem they face all the time. And apparently Mr. Robot, again, another show I haven't seen, is very accurate what hacking actually looks like.
Yeah.
And it's basically just lines of text. It's really boring.
I just like... I'm finding it quite hard to articulate, but it's like I'm getting a little tired of us having gone through the phase of being like what we think hacking is and it's cool.
Yeah.
To now it's like hacking is like edgelordy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's... Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of hackers in the world who are doing stuff which is edgelordy and dickish, but they can't all have an asymmetric haircut and wear hoodies and live in warehouses. Like, there's not enough
with a multi-screen setup.
There's not enough real estate in the world.
There isn't,
you know?
No. And also, it's a big waste of a warehouse because they're typically right in the middle of this massive space, which they're not using the rest of it all. And there's cables just trailing across the floor. Supertrip has it there. You know, it's like it's weird setup.
I just never want to have...
Probably cold.
It's that you've always got to be wary of those moments where, like, you think life or art is imitating just a bad cliche script, because it's there'd be that moment where someone would go like, "Wait, you're Black Shadow? You're a legend on the dark web?" And no,
yeah, that phrase you just said then, really, it was like rubbing salt in a wound. That actually really hurt a little bit. I think there's a bit in Ready Player One where the main character realizes that someone he's met in real life is someone he's met in the virtual world. It's like, you're Artemis, the legendary fighter and hacker of, like, you know, the Genesis incident. And it's like,
I hear you bankrupted Colorado.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. You look so different to how I imagine you look. Yeah, because I'm a person. You fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that trope. And I think you're right. I think we've got to the point where someone once did a hacker as a guy in a black hoodie in a warehouse with 28 screens. And every other person who ever made a hacker in a story since then was just like, I want it to look like that guy. And it's like, no one ever stopped to think, well, shall we actually research what a hacker actually looks like? No. I want him to look like that guy. Because that guy looked fucking gnarly.
I feel like if my life would be just, it's good life advice for anyone, but I'd say like it is trying, if you ever find yourself in a bad movie, like you turn and run.
Could happen.
Because in that scene where two people in their button-down office job are like in the canteen and one of them goes like, oh my God, you're Thunder Mask. You know, I heard about
your white ibex.
You know, your white ibex. You know, the Burj Khalifa incident? That was you? I'd be the guy who walks up to the table with a bagel and a coffee and he's like, nope. And just does a 180. Just like, nope. No,
ruined that shot. I don't care.
I'm already gone. I am... No.
Yeah, agreed.
Hey, guys, this is getting like really just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce.
I'm gonna check out this.
If that's okay. Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
I'm gonna go buy a cabin and live deliberately in the woods.
Yeah.
Like I
I'll
am.
never connect to a smart device ever again.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's bullshit. Shit. I've got a love.
Got love.
Yeah. What's wrong?
I don't know.
You're looking at me weird.
We got a third beer, but there's two.
Yeah, well, the beers were on a deal,
Ah.
and it was like 3 for a tenner.
I guess we should pour one out for the Queen and Chris Ray.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, we don't have any vessels though.
no.
Do we? You can just keep that beer
Nah.
unless you want it. You can start
no,
it.
actually, no. Let's.
That'll share it.
We'll pour it out
For Chris.
and it's like it's for Chris.
It's for Chris.
Chris.
But you were looking at it quite longingly. You want a slice.
It's not even like. No.
No, okay.
I think I can survive. I'm going to drink some water. Instead.
My love is beer. No. My love is very simple. I love intro credits.
An intro credit.
And intro credits. Now, this isn't necessarily like I love every intro because some are shit. That's a fact. But I love the idea and the concept of an intro credits, and I will let them run every time. When I'm watching a show that I've watched hundreds of episodes of, I will still want to watch the intro credits every time if it's a good intro credits.
Do you mean like not just the intro credits, but like an elaborate title sequence of
yeah,
music?
So a perfect example of this and a recent tete-a-tete I had with my wife over it is Star Trek Voyager. Has a very dramatic and elegant intro sequence of Voyager just flying through space, various spatial things happening around it. And I love it every time. It's got a great theme tune. I love watching the ship flying about. It's exactly the same every time.
Yeah.
Love it. And I want to watch it every time. And I was like, should we just skip it? There's a little button that comes up on Netflix and like, skip intro credits. And I'm like, no, we're watching it. We're watching them fucking intro credits because it gets me in the mood. I'm all ready for seeing like, oh, we're going on a space adventure. Let me get into my space zone in my head. The intro credits does it great. I love it. And then there are other ones that are like anime particularly, or animated content often has better animation in its intro credits than it actually does in the show itself. Because of course they only need to make it once and then they can just play it every time at the front of every episode. So there's usually a lot of effort in that. And it looks really, really good. And then the rest of the episode is like, yes, all right, it's probably got a couple of moments where the animation's good.
And I guess like in anime in particular, you're getting like some kind of banging J-pop.
Banging J-pop song.
Banging
exactly.
J-pop, yeah.
Banging J-pop, yeah. So, yeah, like Fire Force, for example. It's a great anime. It's got a great intro credit.
That's what sprung to my mind.
I know, exactly, right? That's really, you should watch that. You should go on YouTube, dibbity boop, intro credits, Fire Force. Watch it, it's really good. So, yeah, I love an intro credits. I will always, I don't want to skip them. I will always watch them. They're a part of the experience, and I think they should be watched. They're a piece of art.
How do you feel about older movies?
Oh, yeah. I see.
Yeah, which don't have an elaborate musical title screen, title sequence.
But they
just
open with credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've watched a couple of...
You've watched some old westerns, haven't you?
Recently.
Yeah.
And classics, but they do have that thing where it's like, you know, if you were sitting in the theatre back in the day,
yes.
The energy would be quite low at the start of a film.
Very low.
Because it's like, oh, the film's starting.
But there's a lot of names.
And then it's like, set designer. And you're going to spend a few minutes just learning who made the movie.
Yeah, see, now I don't like those.
Yeah.
No, those are not what I mean at all. I watched The Naked Gun, that silly film. You know, that silly movie. And that has an opening intro credits because it's an old film, but it's that classic one of the rooftop of the car with the siren on it and it's going to all silly places. And it's like, when they do it like that, and it's like a gimmick.
That's very funny.
That's very funny, yeah. But in a way, in both cases, that when it's good, Naked Gun, when it's bad, old films like the Western movies you're describing, they are still kind of part of the film. And it doesn't pop up on Netflix to say skip because the film's kind of begun, whether you like it or not, whether it's a boring start or not, that's part of the film.
Yeah.
But when it's a show, when it's a TV show and the intro credits are the same every episode, Netflix goes, hey, you don't need to watch this. Let's get you skipped.
I'm trying to think, because like they obviously started moving. There was a big shift, and they started moving the credits to the end of a movie. And then I think was it like Rush Hour was one of the first ones to do the big like here's all the bloopers which we're going to play.
Yes, over the credits.
And then you've got a reason to stay.
I think that was one of the first. Yeah.
I'm trying to think like how all the Marvel products do it now, because they're like
they tend to have a first third of credits are very visual, like animated.
Yeah.
So you get all the big names, and they're popping on the screen with some cool animated effects. And then once the top up guys are done, then we just get a crawl on a black screen until obviously the inevitable end credit sequence.
But do they still like? I'm trying to think what the etiquette for it now is. Like, if you start a big budget movie, do they still at the start get like a couple of? Do they still say like directed by? And then they do the full credits at the end or something like that.
I don't know if they. I don't think there's any real like consistency anymore, because I think you get all of the production companies' logos at the front, obviously, and then you get their production companies again, but now in words. So it'll be like a working title film by published by Paramount.
Yes.
And you get it all said again, but this time in just words. And then it might say a Nick Angel film. Before the film starts.
Yeah, and then at the end it will say.
But then it will say directed by
Nick Angel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Academy Award winner Nick Angel.
I tried to watch a documentary on Netflix the other day.
Yes.
And it was about Brian Jones, who was in the Rolling Stones.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan, but I thought this could be interesting.
Yeah.
Could be talking about the 60s and whatnot. And the moment I pressed play, I got a really bad feeling.
Really?
Because it kind of opened...
Red flags straight away.
It just opened with the credits.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah, but it's also like, are you trying to say, I made this? Look how great I am.
Well, already it just seemed a bit old-fashioned, even though it was a relatively modern documentary. And it was like, okay, so they're playing some music and we've got the credits and this guy made it. Okay, that seems cool. It seems a bit cheap. Like, it was just like a still image and like a bit of... And then I was already going like, this seems like a weird way to spend the opening 2 minutes of your thing. This isn't dynamic. This isn't interesting. And then we just cut to like a farm, and we get like a load of panning shots of this farm, and then it's like Brian bought this farm in 1964. I'm 17 minutes into this thing. I'm done. Like, I'd quit right then and there. I learnt nothing.
Wow.
So boring.
Yeah, don't
do that.
No, don't do that. Don't open with that.
Well, it's like a lot of these big TV shows, these big like flagpole kind of events. They've made a whole a work of art.
Well, I think Game of Thrones has a lot to answer for here, because I think like Game of Thrones was probably the first show that was like, hey, we can turn our intro credits into some like something like a work of art. Like, there's no better phrase for it than you said. You said it, work of art.
I never watched True Blood.
No, neither did I.
No. It's like a slightly earlier big budget TV show.
Yes.
But I think the studio that made their opening credits, because that was outsourced to a particular team, which I'm not familiar with, this is all anecdotal, they won some kind of award for the title sequence.
Yeah. And I remember Daredevil had a sort of like pouring red blood, over objects.
A lot of blood
related to the show.
I'm
trying to think of
Westworld.
Westworld
was quite good.
That was good. That was like making people, wasn't it?
Yeah, like he's a vulture. What does that mean? Ooh.
Yeah.
Sandman doesn't really have one.
No, we just get the title and a moon, and then it just starts.
Yeah.
It kind of made a big thing of its end credits, though, Sandman, with different, very Dave McKean-esque artwork.
That is true, yeah. I guess like you can subvert it now, can't you?
Yeah.
It's like, you either go big budget or now you just go like, this is my show.
Rings of Power is really weird. It's got an intro sequence. You know when you put a load of sand on a speaker and it like vibrates into weird patterns?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intro sequence to Rings of Power.
Pounding techno.
Yeah, no, it's really odd. It's like the music's really gentle and sweeping fantasy, but all this sand is like moving around into weird shapes. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
it probably means something.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like a lot of these shows got very like experimental and interesting, and genuinely it was like the title sequence became almost more interesting than the show.
I think in a lot of cases that's true.
It was like, how are we going to come up with like a weird artistic interpretation? Like Daredevil. It was like here
very
are
much so.
statues and
Buildings
New York landmarks, but like there's blood,
Yes.
like dripping all over them.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like okay, very striking. Like you've taken a thematic
Yeah.
thing, but then
Very arty.
but then a lot of his shows would be like, okay, how can we do it? How can we? What's the hook gonna be? And then they would. It's like a low budget James Bond intro where you take one element of the show.
Just blow that up.
Yeah. So I am amazed at the Rings of Power. It's not just like molten metal.
Well, this is the weird
Like,
thing
yeah.
because I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Because they released this like, hey, this is as a teaser. It's like this is the intro sequence, and it was like pouring molten metal into grooves in wood, and it was like close up. You can see the metal and sparks.
Yeah.
And then you zoomed out at the end, and it said Rings of Power in metal.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, obviously, yeah, that's gonna be. And I was like, right, so that's the teaser they've shared. That's what it's gonna be. And then no, that's not it. It's just sand vibrating into patterns.
Is it entirely possible that you will reach a point in the TV show where sand will suddenly be very relevant?
Very relevant.
And you'll go,
of course,
that was it.
yes,
Yeah.
that was it. No.
But it is like that. It's like you could there could be like a thing where like in episode 8 this one character eats a peach,
Yeah.
and but of course like they'd film the entire show and then a studio would go, let's make a title sequence,
Let's watch the whole show. Let's pick on one tiny aspect.
primal avataristic element from the show, and then it's like episode 1 is just peaches,
Yeah.
but like in a really weird like
It's like really close up over the surface of a peach. So
Yes.
it looks like a landscape of a planet.
yes,
And
yeah.
then you're panning around, getting all these weird shots, and then finally the final shot you pull back, and it's just a peach on a table with a bite out of it. It's like, wow. I can see that
we
happening.
joke about. I can picture
I
that.
can totally
It'd be
picture
like,
that,
how can
yeah.
we make the surface of a peach look like a land?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, what am I looking
the
at?
stem is like it's like a tower.
Yeah.
The, the pit is like a brain. You know.
Yeah.
It's all symbolic. What does it mean? Oh, now here's a bit of juice running down a.
See, it's all symbolic. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. But if it
Literally
but
nothing,
If it looks like it's symbolic,
Yeah.
then everyone will be like, it's art.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Oh my
art.
god! I guess deep down, like all peaches are a lot like.
The human condition.
The human condition, yeah, and then the final shot is like, no, it's a peach.
It's a peach, you idiot.
You shatter all the illusion. No, it's a fruit on a marble table.
Yeah.
Crunch.
Enjoy it. The show's called Crunch.
I think Samwise Gamgee just waddles on and goes, oh.
Yeah. But saying all of that, I love it. I watch them all. I watch them every time.
The title sequence is a 4-minute, incredibly artfully shot, like close up, lot of CGI. Of this peach,
Yeah.
You know, we're really getting in close, and by the time you've seen episode 8, the peach will make a lot of sense.
I
you
know it's the peach.
and
Yeah.
it's 4 minutes, and that's quite long.
It is
but
long.
It's beautifully shot. And the music is incredible.
Probably worth it.
And then the final shot is of a peach on a table, and the camera just like pulls back slowly, and the music just fades out, and the titles kind of come up, and then the titles fade away, and it's still silent, and we're just focusing on that peach, and then you hear footsteps. And then the footsteps get closer and closer and closer. And then Samwise Gamgee walks on the screen and goes, hello. And then he just picks up the peach, sits on the table, and eats it in real time.
And we watch him eat.
And that
the
takes
whole
another
peach.
4 minutes.
Yep. And this is the title sequence.
Still the title sequence.
that we get every.
There's no
episode.
audio.
No.
Like the only no music rather. The only audio is the diagenetic sound of Samwise Gamgee.
And what's weird as well is that the show is set in modern day.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is why Samwise Gamgee there. And I don't have an answer for you. And you should shut up.
Come to think of it, The Crown did this as well.
Did it?
I'm trying to not with the peach, but like
Well, with Samwise Gamgee.
yeah, Samwise Gamgee. But it's like
My guess for the crown would be close-ups of the crown.
yeah, and jewels. And
Yeah.
like the crown jewels.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it is. It's like but like really like macro,
Yeah.
like panning, like what am I looking at? Is that a diamond? You know?
Yeah, or a ruby.
Yeah, is that a blood diamond? You know, and then it's just like, oh, it's all CGI, but what's happening? Oh, is that filigree? You know, and then the final shot, of course, the camera pulls back,
And there it is.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's score kind of drops out.
Is it Hans Zimmer?
I think it's Hans Zimmer. Yeah,
Good Lord.
yeah.
There you go.
I mean, it is the Royals. Like you've got to,
I guess
you've got to
you've
go
gotta go
big.
hard,
It's
yeah.
good enough for Batman. It's good enough for
Well, true.
Philip.
Yeah. the modern day Batman in many ways.
I've got love.
Yeah.
It was going to be
The Queen.
the Queen,
But then
but
she
she's
died.
dead. It was going to be the Mega Drive.
Oh,
Because we've got a Mega Drive working in the house now.
Yeah.
And it's delightful. But I purchased Sonic and Knuckles off eBay.
Off of eBay.
And I played 2 levels of it, and then the controller broke. So now you cannot go right.
Oh, you need to go right. That's
And fast.
the main way something goes. Is right.
It's quite hard to do much of anything now.
Yeah.
So that's not my love. My love is a degreased bike chain.
Oh.
I
I didn't know you were going to go sexy.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm not prepared.
Maybe I'm being metaphorical. Or maybe I'm talking about a bike chain.
I think you're
that's
probably
been degreased, and we
talking
won't know.
about- I'll know.
So I've been riding a bike now for about as long as I've been married.
Okay.
5 years or so.
Are you married to the bike?
I'm married to the road.
Yeah, true. I've always said that about you.
The bike is just my mistress.
I don't know what that means.
It's
good though.
It's good, yeah. No, but Lucy and I got married in 2018. Sorry, Chris Ray's not here, so I've got to make weird audio.
I guess you have to. Yeah.
I started a new job not long after. Bought a bike.
Yep.
Because I could cycle to work. So I've been riding that bike from like 2018 to pretty much the present day.
Yeah.
So nearly 5 years.
That's a long time.
And it's
Solidly.
It's a good bike.
You're riding it now.
It's a good bike. Got a lot. Doing an ollie. Got a lot of use out of it. It's great. Rode it for 6 months without putting any oil on it.
Okay.
Got a bit crunchy. It was a bit hard to do anything with.
A crunchy bike.
And then a bike man was like, "You may want to consider occasionally or at all oiling your bike."
Just look after it.
So I started oiling up my bike, and it's great. I mean, it's a delight.
Brilliant.
And then just recently, the bike's been getting a little like a bit of difficulty, like changing gears.
No,
you
you don't
know,
want
like
that.
a little scrunchy. I was thinking, like,
Yeah.
the bike might be dying.
Like there's a couple of Watsits in the system somewhere.
Yeah, or something more substantial,
Oh,
like a Monster Munch.
Quaver. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
a Quaver. Shut up, a Quaver. oh, I'm Nick Angel. A skip is a substantial crisp.
Yeah.
Shut up.
They fill me up. One
Fuck
Quaver,
you,
I'm done.
Yeah, your bag. One family bag. This man's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A crate.
a crate. A whole crate, aka 4.2 grams.
Maybe
of
less.
skips. It's a lot of nitrogen in every
It's a
script.
huge amount, yeah.
But then this Monday, I was like, I need to pop into town and run some errands. And being now a man of my own time,
Indeed you are.
it being unemployed, I was like, I'm going to do this in the middle of the day because I can.
Fuck, that's a flex.
And just out of nowhere, got into my head. Don't know where this came from. You should clean the bike chain.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where this came from. Don't know where this came from. So I did a quick Google. I was like, Google. How do you clean a bike chain without buying
a whole new bike?
Because as I said, unemployed. And I was like, I saw that WD-40.
Ah, yes, the
Now-
old favourite.
I don't know much, but I know that I always have a can of WD-40.
I've got a WD-39, but I haven't got a 40. That's not true.
No.
That's it.
What is WD-39?
I don't know. I'm guessing there's other ones.
Presumably 40
Yeah.
of them. No, it'd be amazing.
39 is delicious.
Mm.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah, 39 is an incredible low-fat spread. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yes.
lovely.
It's like a margarine.
Still comes in the same can, though.
Squirt it out.
And apparently WD-40 can do it.
Brilliant.
Because I didn't want to buy, I'm not going to buy an
No, fuck that.
expensive bike degreaser.
Yeah.
I'm unemployed.
So you keep saying.
So I ended up spending half an hour or so,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically turned my bike upside down, looked at the chain. It did look a bit kind of like
A bit Monster
not of the
Munchy.
chain, but also like the cogs and the gubbings and
Yeah.
the technical terms like
Yeah,
the,
like
the
those.
ratchets and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, it looks a bit slimy and
Yeah.
everything because the point being like oil's great.
Right.
You got to lube up that bike,
You've got it.
but also like old oil that you've had lying around, dirt and grime and
Right.
dust might get into it, and then I just add more oil because so I'm just adding layers.
Yeah.
And I was looking at all this like nasty gubbins, and I sprayed some WD-40 all over it. Gave it a bit of a rub down, and I was like, yeah, it seems to have like taken a bit of grime off. I can see a little bit of shine now on the chain, but I was like, I just don't think there's much to take off. To be honest, I think it just looks a little grimy. It's fine. It's no big issue. I mean,
Job done.
Get my screwdriver out, and I'm like, you see, look at this. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to.
I don't.
But
Yeah.
I'm poking at like the gubbiny bit that the chain goes around. I'm like, yeah, look at it. You see, it's all just like solid plastic, isn't it? Or metal or whatever. And then I was like, oh no, wait, that's not that black bit. That's not metal.
Oh no.
That's like 5 years of grime, like built up in like a carapace.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah. So then I kind of like pressed in with the screwdriver, and it just went like a centimeter in. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh, okay, I think I see the shape of the job now.
Right, yeah.
So I did spend about half an hour, 40 minutes just digging out shit from the gubbins.
I bet that was quite satisfying.
Yeah, it was very dirty,
but
but it was
dirty
good.
boy.
Yeah, dirty boy.
Papa cleans his bike today.
But also, it's like, the geared bit, you've got like, it's like a small gear, big gear, bigger gear, and the chain's meant to hop between them.
Indeed.
And every funnel, every crevice, every ass crack between the things.
Just like mine.
Was just caked with this kind of black grease,
Just
which was
like
the
mine.
exact same colour of the metal, exact same colour as the surroundings. And I was like, jamming this screwdriver into the gully and, kind of like just stick it in, bend it back, and just flicking out great big, just like dollops of the crap.
Wow.
And it's like strata. It's like I'm going down layers. It's like, what's that?
crap.
It's like grass and like shit in this. So
Fuck.
I've got to say, like,
No wonder your bike's been graunchy.
like a very satisfying colon backslash.
Like episode.
It felt incredibly good and dirty and nasty.
Nice.
But at the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I have gears again. I don't just have this big, like,
single cog.
this big single piece of like, earthenware, which I've spun on a wheel. I now can see cogs. No wonder the thing was like hopping gears and stuff. It was because, it was like a terracotta urn. It wasn't. It was so. Or maybe this is all a metaphor. I don't know.
It's not, I don't think, because you were very specific about your bike and digging shit out of your bike.
But maybe also like the grease is shame, and
Well, I guess you should be a little bit ashamed.
the cogs are like your psyche.
Yeah? No.
Well,
I don't think it is, though.
What
I mean, I know you don't know for sure, but I think I know.
what everybody needs, right? Because I think like this lesson is applicable to many situations.
Sure, maybe.
If anyone listening feels they've got grease in their gears, you need a screwdriver, which in this context is
Therapy.
Self-actualization,
Oh,
and some
right.
WD-40
Which is...
beer,
Right.
and you need to go to town.
I don't
on
think this
those-
is
on
good
those
advice.
cogs. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, no.
Combination of self-actualization and beer, which is hard to say when you've had a beer as well.
The important thing is like you need to let that build up for 5 years. You
You definitely need to let that build up for
You
5 years.
must not do anything healthy.
No, because where will the satisfaction be
Yeah.
with excavating that
Yeah.
shame and that guilt? Where will the satisfaction be if you just do it after a couple of minutes?
Hey, if I take like 5 minutes to deal with a small problem, I'm not a hero.
That's not satisfying.
I'm a sensible person.
Yeah.
But if I like
You're a guy managing your day-to-day troubles.
Yeah, but if I try to take down a mountain that's been developing for like 10 years, now I'm weird Uncle Barry who's having a breakdown at the family reunion, and that's heroic.
But who's laughing?
Yeah.
Uncle Barry's laughing.
Yeah, in the shallow end of the pool. Barry's doing great.
He's doing really good.
Well, he's
Yeah.
not, but
No, he's not. He's unemployed.
but everyone's
But again,
talking.
that's another
Everyone's
parallel.
talking about him.
Everyone is talking
Yeah,
about Uncle
and,
Barry.
and what I'm saying is that's heroic.
Yeah.
That's heroic.
Yeah, he bottled it up for 10 years, and now he has something to chisel away.
Yeah.
What do we have to chisel away?
Degrease your cogs.
Well, actually, you turned it into something. You turned it into something metaphorical.
Thank you.
there.
Degrease your cogs.
Degrease your fucking cogs.
But also in a non-metaphorical sense, in an actual
You
physical
really
sense.
should degrease your cogs.
And now I can see the metal again, and it's shiny.
Wow.
It's great.
Yeah.
So now and then
Maybe you've degreased it too much.
and then you lube it up.
Oh, okay.
So now it's like a dream.
Oh, wow.
Cycling is a delight again.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still unemployed though, so that's fine. What do you think won?
One of them had to.
One of them had to.
Yeah,
In these dark times.
I still think it's probably hate, actually. Despite the loves being heartfelt, I think yours was confused with being either a metaphor or reality. And mine, the more we talked about intro credits, the more I realised that some of them are shit. But I still really hate bros ruining my Pokemon cards.
That was a really strong hate. Like, there's part of me which feels bad because I'm like, as a nation, we need to heal.
We do need to, right now especially, yeah.
And the twin ravages of, like, Logan Paul and the Queen's, death.
Passing.
I'm not saying the two things are connected, but
we don't know.
I've not seen any evidence to suggest they aren't.
Exactly.
We need something positive to take us forward. But
this was not it.
It wasn't it, no.
No.
And he's a massive prick.
And maybe the biggest sign of respect of all is the fact that we don't champion love today.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because let's not walk on eggshells on this.
Yeah.
Let's be hateful.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Double down. Yes.